and welcome. Tonight, we are under attack for fixing the refineries, says NNPCL CEO Bayo Julari, vowing to press on with the reforms. 2 months after the deadly Yalwata attack in Benue State, the DSS arrests 9 suspects linked to the incident. All is set for the River State local government election, with major stakeholders declaring readiness for the polls. And European Union leaders outraged as Russian strikes killed 21 and damaged EU headquarters in Kiev.
On business news tonight, Dangote Group seals $2.5 billion deal with Ethiopia to build one of the world's largest fertilizer plants.
On sports news tonight, defending champions PSG draw tough opponents, including Barcelona and Bayern Munich in this season's Champions League.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, National Economic Council approves plan to fast-track a $1 trillion economy.
The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mr. Bayo Julari, says the company's main agreement team is facing attacks over its effort to rehabilitate the nation's refineries. Mr. Julari made this known at the meeting with the leadership of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN, at the company's headquarters in Abuja. He also clarified issues surrounding the closure of the Port Harcourt refinery, disclosing that the company is exploring the option of a joint venture with international oil firms as part of plans to restore the refineries.
Good to see you.
The president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association, PENGASSAN, and members of his team are attending this strategic meeting with the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in Abuja. The meeting is partly to appreciate the management of the company for their support to the union and also to ask questions regarding the state of the nation's refineries.
We've seen today that the refineries today, the one that was seemingly working before now is shut down. We don't really know what the reasons are. Press, all the pressmen, they be bombarding us, trying to find out, trying to know what is the state of our refineries. GCO, we have asked over time that our current refineries, that with the way it is it not actually possible for us to bring to bear the same model that we have today in NLNG? That is because today we all know very well that NLNG is one experiment that has worked.
In his remarks, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited gives an update on the state of the refineries.
The way the refinery was designed when the old refinery came forward is that the new refinery was meant to feed into the old refinery was meant to feed into new for the end product to be of the right standard to the market, right? So the attempt on the old refinery was not optimum, and that's why we could not produce properly the PMS, but also the mid-grade products we are producing was at a loss, significant loss to all of us. We're all Nigerians. It's not about me or NNPC. And that was the problem. So the first thing we then said was, rather than continue to lose, let's quickly stop and look for a way to put this refinery into a sustainably profitable venture, but also a main source of sustainable employment.
According to the company, Nigeria loses between $300 and $500 million monthly owing to the current state of the refineries, and efforts to adopt a model that will fix the situation is coming at a price.
We've now completed the commercial review for the Port Harcourt refinery. And from that commercial review, we have come to that conclusion that the best way forward is for us to get a true professional refining company to join us and cooperate with us. The long term will be better for everybody, but not everybody is patient for that. So, and I think that's what you see. So there's no hiding around all the attacks that I have received. We are under attack. And I repeat again, NNPC, we are under attack. However, we know why this attack is coming. We have our commitment and we are resolved to stay focused, to drive the mandate that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us.
Notwithstanding, the management of the union vows not to back down on efforts to fix the nation's refineries, as members of Pangasen promised their support to the management of the company.
The Department of State Services, the DSS, has filed 6 charges against 9 terror suspects accused of masterminding the deadly attacks on Yalwata village in Guma local government area of Benue State, which left many people dead and many others injured. 2 of the suspects, Haruna Adamu and Mohammed Abdullahi from Awe local government area of Nasarawa State, are facing 4-count charges over the June 13, 2025 attacks on NNPC and Yalwata. They are accused of conspiring with others still at large, including Musa Beniyon, Bako Malowa, Ibrahim Tunga, and several others. In a separate charge, Tenkende Ashiwa and Amos Alede of Guma local government area are facing 3 counts of allegedly carrying out reprisal attacks linked to the incidents in Anambra and Yalwata. The trial is yet to be scheduled at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State has called on church leaders to place soul winning above materialism. Speaking in Abuja at the Catholic Archdiocese General Assembly, where he delivered a lecture on the theme Faithfulness to the Liturgy, a liturgical vision for the hopeful future in Abuja Archdiocese, the governor urged Christian leaders to resist allowing politicians use the altar for campaigns.
This is the 6th General Assembly of the Abuja Archdiocese in the nation's capital, with the theme Faithfulness to Theurgy, a liturgical vision for a hopeful future in Abuja Archdiocese. The event has in attendance the Apostolic Nuncio to Nigeria, Archbishop Michael Crotty, the Archbishop of Abuja, Most Reverend Ignatius Kegama, Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State, who is also the chairman of the occasion. The Governor of Imo State is here to deliver the lecture on the theme of the ceremony. He used the occasion to call on religious leaders not to allow politicians use the altar for political campaigns.
The politicization of the pulpit. I raised this same point 3 years ago at the Catholic Bishops' Conference in Olo in Imo State. It bears repeating. Some priests now seem more political than politicians. The homily is not a campaign platform. The pulpit is sacred. It is meant for spiritual edification, not for political mobilization. Yes, priests must be moral voices, but moral clarity is not the same as partisan activism. We must resist the temptation of turning our altar into soap boxes. Let us therefore remain faithful, not for tradition's sake, but for Christ's sake. Let us renew our commitment to the liturgy as holy witness, and let us raise a generation of clergy and laity who will see the liturgy not as a task, but as a gift.
The governor also speaks on the recent insecurity in the state, highlighting the impact of political sponsorship and agitation for Biafra state.
We have recorded remarkable improvement. Like I told you, there are 2 types of, there are 2 principal factors driving the insecurity in Imo State. One is won by those who are genuinely agitating for their Biafran interests. And the other one is criminality and the political sponsorship of those who want to disorganize the government. Our democracy is gradually growing, and we pray that it will touch their hearts one day to see reason why they must be law-abiding and peaceful to encourage government to serve the people better.
Governor Hope Uzodimma is assuring that his administration will do its best to ensure that the state remains safe and secure.
To party politics now in Rivers State, the leadership crisis in the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers has again moved to the courts, but this time over who has the right to sponsor candidates for the August 30, 2025 local government elections. The faction loyal to Emeka Bekee, who recently secured a victory in court in the chairmanship dispute, has now sued the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Antonio Kocha, backed by the APC National Secretariat. They are arguing that only the Bekee-led executives can lawfully conduct primaries and submit candidates. Meanwhile, despite the legal battle, the Antonio Kocha-led faction is pushing ahead with the last-minute campaign for the elections.
Chants of solidarity fill the air in Eleme as the All Progressives Congress brings its campaign for the August 30 local government election to a close in One, the ward of the chairmanship candidate. The campaign in One, Eleme local government area, attracts participants from all walks of life who dance and wave flags and posters in anticipation of victory. Addressing the crowd, the state chairman of the APC, Antonio Kocha, urges residents to come out en masse to vote, stressing that the local government election serves as a preparation for the 2027 general elections.
So please, on Saturday, our mama dem no farm that day. If you support the candidates, don't go to farm. There is no farm that day. There is no market. Please go out and vote as your respective polling units. The second message I have for you, we are preparing the ground for 2027.
Other party stakeholders take turns to eulogize the character and leadership qualities of the chairmanship candidate. In a dramatic twist, the candidate also receives open endorsement from the People's Democratic Party member of the State House of Assembly representing the constituency.
There's a new hope in Nigeria. For those of us from Eleme, if we are not inclined to the president, our hope will be lost. On that note, our great incoming chairman, you told me in privacy that everything you pledged on your manifesto, you will execute and follow it to the end. On that note, I want to sign and agree and put my signature as a guarantor that everyone that is supporting me, every of my friends in People's Democratic Party, and believe in me, should vote on the 30th for Chief of Anambra Honor, not 30th of August 2025.
For the chairmanship candidate who has served before, his return is a mission to consolidate on the gains already achieved in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, which he notes is already evident in development projects across the area.
I want to assure my people that I will make you people proud. We will finish that secretariat in Okale before the 1-year anniversary. By the grace of God Almighty, whatever project we started in Onai here, the civic center, the hospital, we will finish them and commission them. I have told my people, I will not be a big man chairman. I will operate like a youth president so that we can get what belongs to us.
The APC is closing its rally in Eleme local government area of Rivers State, confident that supporters are convinced that the upcoming local government elections is a contest for council leadership and a test run for the 2027 general elections.
In part two, after the break, Nigeria Immigration Service announces increase in standard passport fees effective September 1. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 coming to you live from Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. We're under attack for fixing the refinery, says NNPCL CEO Bayo Julari. vowing to press on with the reforms. And 2 months after the deadly Yalwata attack in Benue State, DSS arrests 9 suspects linked to that incident. All is set for the River State local government election, with major stakeholders declaring readiness for the polls. And EU leaders outraged as Russian strikes killed 21, damaging EU headquarters in Kiev. The Nigeria Immigration Service has announced an upward review of passport application fees effective September the 1st, 2025. In a statement signed by its public relations officer, ACI Akinlabi, the service said the adjustments applies only to applications made within Nigeria. The 32-page passport with 5-year validity will now cost 100,000 naira, up from 50,000 naira, while the 64-page passport with 10-year validity has now been increased to 200,000 naira from 100,000 naira. The NIS has clarified that the fees for Nigerians abroad remain unchanged at $150 for the 32-page 5-year passport and $230 for the 64-page 10-year passport. It explains the review is aimed at maintaining the quality and integrity of the document while ensuring accessibility for all citizens. We're head over to the nation's capital now, where Victoria Longjen is standing by for more on the news at 10. Over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Anne. The National Economic Council, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, has approved a proposed 5-year national development plan aimed at driving Nigeria towards a $1 trillion economy by 2030. The plan, known as the Renewed Hope Development Plan, forms part of the Nigeria Agenda 2050 initiative launched in 2021. At its meeting at the Presidential Villa, the NEC also received a report showing that cases of the type 2 polio virus in Nigeria has dropped from 78 to 42. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
It's the 151st National Economic Council meeting chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The meeting is attended by some state governors and deputy governors from across the country. On the table is a proposed national development plan presented by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, which seeks to promote inclusivity and accelerated growth.
It is envisaged that the preparation of the new plan will commence this month so that it can be completed on time for Mr. President to launch it before the end of the year.
Mr. Bagudu notes that the plan will ensure policy continuity.
Since this is a national development plan, the process of developing it will be participatory, involving the 3 tiers and arms of government, organized private sector, political parties, civil society, and peace-based organizations.
NEC also receives update from its ad hoc committee on eradication of polio in Nigeria, which indicates a downward trend in cases recorded.
The progress so far made has shown that epidemiological data is on a downward trend from about 78 cases in 2024 to 42 cases. Out of the 23 cases recorded in 2025, Sokoto has 13 cases. About 2.7 million children had been vaccinated in that round.
Governor Inoyaya also speaks on steps being taken to completely eradicate the new variant of polio virus from Nigeria.
In October, a nationwide integrated campaign targeting children between 0 to 14 years will be conducted.
Update on the Federation account given by the Ministry of Finance shows the excess crude account as at August 27, 2025 stood at $535,823. Stabilization account stood at over 78.4 billion naira, and natural resources account stood at over 106.7 billion naira. The Minister of Budget and National Planning observed that the 2021-2025 National Development Plan hit the rock in some way as a result of the outbreak of the COVID-19. He, however, noted that under the administration of President Bola Tinubu, some successes were recorded. And he expressed optimism that the proposed 2026-2030 National Development Plan.
And the National Coordinator of the Presidential Initiative for Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain, PVAC, Dr. Abdul Mukhtar, has emphasized the importance of collaboration between research, industry and government to advance healthcare. He made the remark while receiving a research team from the University College London and Peking University, China, who are on a study tour assessing the feasibility and impact of local manufacturing of diagnostic products in Nigeria. Dr. Abdul noted that local production of diagnostics is vital to Nigeria's health security and will strengthen the economic foundation to better serve the people. This visit between the management of the Presidential Initiative for Unlocking Healthcare Value Chain, PVAC, and a research team from the University College London and the Peking University, China, led by Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, is to discuss opportunities and challenges to strengthen Nigeria's healthcare manufacturing ecosystem. The team lead believes local manufacturing is a strategic solution to addressing Africa's dependence on imported pharmaceuticals and diagnostics.
I'm delighted to be here, leading a team from Peking University and University College London, working in close partnership with one of the largest diagnostic manufacturers in the world. And we're exploring opportunities around diagnostic manufacturing in Africa, thinking through the whole process to be able to advise them about the viability of the project in Nigeria in particular, but across the West African region.
The visit could not have come at a better time, as Nigeria is making strides in unlocking its healthcare value chain.
This meeting is really, we had with partners that OneFor has brought to look at the Nigerian market to do an assessment, and they brought a very high technical team from the University College of London and Peking University to really review and meet with various stakeholders, including PVAC, but they've also met with other partners, including NAFDAC, NIPRID, the Ministry of Health, just to assess the market. And so we spent the last 1 hour really just going over some of the issues around local manufacturing in Nigeria, stressing all the different policy support and the excellent leadership and the political will that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Honorable Coordinator Minister of Health, Professor Mohammed Ali Pati, have put in place to encourage, investment in the healthcare products market. So this is what we've done, and we're pleased to say that the outcome is very positive. I think they will go back and digest all the information that they've gathered over the next several days, and then come back to us with a very clear plan for localization of their products in Nigeria.
The findings of this visit is expected to provide evidence and insights to guide sustainable investments and partnerships in Nigeria's health sector. And as Anambra State marks the 34th anniversary of its creation, Governor Chukwuma Soludo has reaffirmed his commitment to sustained progress, saying no time will be wasted in driving development. Speaking at a press conference at the Lighthouse Awka, the governor highlighted the state's record of excellence in leadership, vision and growth, anchored on his administration's 5 pillars of focus, covering economic, social and technological advancement. He emphasized that his administration is guided by the mantra to leave no one behind, reflecting a commitment to inclusive impact across the state.
Anambra has got a trajectory that is on an upward swing. But let me remind that even more so over the last 90 years, when Anambra has been under the stable leadership of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. Once the leadership of the state has gotten the steady hand of progressives, Anambra's trajectory has witnessed a kick and has been accelerated even much faster. And I will even dare to add, even more so. Every successive progressive administration has built on the foundation of the previous one and accelerated further. and we are now on an acceleration phase. For us as well, in the last few years of our administration, we came into office barely 3 years plus now, and we defined our agenda for Anambra on 5 major pillars, 5 major buckets, as it were.
Now, still ahead on the news at 10, Dangote Group signs $2.5 billion deal with Ethiopia to build one of the world's largest fertilizer plants. That's some business news. Rejoin us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. The federal government has praised the Yobe state government for its efforts in raising the standard of education in this state. The Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, gave the commendation in Abuja while hosting the global winner of the Teen Eagle competition. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
It's a day of joy and pride for students from Yobe State, their parents, and senior officials of the Yobe State government as they celebrate the giant strides of these students on the global stage at the World Teen Eagle competition. The Global Challenge is an international competition for teenagers aged 8 to 18 to test and improve their English language skills.
From the ministry.
The competition starts with an online preliminary round and includes events like the Team Debates Challenge, Writing Challenge, and Spelling Bee. And the Minister of Education commends the Yobe State government for laying the foundation for these students to conquer the world.
It is Dr. Governor Bono's benevolence emphasis on education that has brought us here. I thank you, Your Excellency, His Excellency, for everything that you continue to do to ensure that you prioritize education in Yobe State.
Some of the successful students hail from Yobe State, and the state government lists some steps taken to advance education in the state.
I'm happy to share with you that part of the measures adopted by the Boni administration to revamp basic education in the state include the construction of over 300 schools destroyed by Boko Haram insurgency, established 15 mega and model schools, and 8 new government girls senior science secondary schools to boost girl child education, procure books, laboratory equipment, and other instructional materials.
The competition, which took place in the United Kingdom, had over 900 students from 46 countries participating.
This achievement for the World Basic English Language is not just for me, it is for my family, my school, Yobe State, and Nigeria. Respectfully, I conclude by expressing my deepest gratitude to my dear parents, and earnestly pray that Almighty Allah grant them the best in this world and the hereafter. God bless Nigeria.
I'm very grateful and happy for the recognition, and I'm very proud of myself and my friends. The competition was an English competition, so we revised a lot to help prepare for the competition.
The state government has also rebuilt educational infrastructure in most of the local governments, especially those previously ravaged by the scourge of Boko Haram. Delia Moyeni, Channels Television News.
And that's it from Abuja. It's now back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Victoria. Let's now bring you more on the preparation for Saturday's local government elections in Rivers State, as all is now set for that rescheduled election. Our correspondent Deborah Agbalama reports on the readiness of the State Electoral Commission, the security agencies, political parties, and of course voters ahead of the polls.
The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, had postponed the elections initially scheduled for August 9, citing political tensions and leadership changes at the state and commission. With a new date fixed for Saturday, August 30, the umpire is assuring that the election would hold as planned. Political parties, majorly the PDP and APC, and their candidates have since taken their campaigns to the grassroots, canvassing support from the electorates across the state. A common trend noticed, however, is that in areas where the PDP fielded chairmanship and councillorship candidates, the APC has none there. And in areas where the APC fielded candidates, the PDP is also absent.
Well, let me start by showing my sadness that my party, the People's Democratic Party, is not presenting any candidate in this election. And because we don't have a candidate on my political party, I think I have a choice to vote for somebody. I can assure you that with what I'm seeing in the atmosphere, we, as Koroma people and people of Ward 4, we are prepared totally to vote in the candidate we are seeing, because since there's none, I have a choice to vote.
However, this seeming harmony marks deeper divisions within the APC. The Emeka Beke-led faction has dragged the State Electoral Commission, Antonio Kocha's camp, to court, insisting that only its executives have the constitutional power to conduct primaries and present candidates. As for the electorates, reactions are mixed. Some voters say they are eager to exercise their franchise, while others opposed to the exercise, avoiding to speak on camera.
I have my PVC. I'm going to vote. Definitely, I'm going to vote.
Yes, I am going for my village to do election. I'm going to do election, free and fair. That's what we want to do.
Despite the divisions, RISEC says it is not backing down. Sensitive materials had already begun leaving the Commission's premises for the local government areas.
We are here to assure you, with the Commissioner of Police, that we have really almost concluded to launch into Saturday. On the part of RISEC, in our planning, we have disaggregated our data into a number of local government areas in Rivers State. We also noticed and appreciated the number of wards. We have also disaggregated into polling units. In terms of all the dynamics of election preparation, we are absolutely ready to go.
The police have already thrown their weight behind the process. The command says adequate personnel have been deployed across the 23 local government areas, warning that any attempt to disrupt the polls will be resisted.
We've cleared everywhere that we need to clear. We've arrested those that we need to arrest. We've charged those that we need to charge to courts. I think we've sanitized the town enough to say yes, we are ready.
It's another round of the Rivers State local government election. 2 elections in 1 year. The people are ready to some extent to go out and vote. Some say that they might not be going out because the last time they voted, it was nullified. However, the police say they're ready. RISEC also say they're ready. And as at the time of filing this report, trucks are already leaving here, taking non-sensitive materials to the various local government areas. One thing is certain, Channels TV will be right there on Saturday to bring you up to date on how the election plays out. From the headquarters of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Deborah Abalama, Channels Television News.
Maltina has launched a back-to-school campaign aligned with its nearly 50-year legacy of nourishing minds and spreading happiness. At a press conference right here in Lagos, the brand unveiled new products, a nationwide school tour, and a thematic campaign ahead of its Golden Jubilee celebrations.
Multivitamins and minerals. It's a celebration of a brand that has been nourishing minds and sharing happiness in Nigeria for almost 50 years, Maltina. And this press conference officially launches the Maltina Back to School campaign, bringing together the media, educators, influencers, and key stakeholders. As Maltina prepares for its Golden Jubilee in 2026, the brand unveils its next chapter with a new theme.
Maltina is going to be dialing up nourishment much more than ever before. That's why we're unveiling this new thematic campaign for the Maltina brand. We're titling it Nourishment Fit for You, because we believe that everybody has a different pack type, fit for different occasions.
Nourishment Fit for You introduces 2 new ranges, a new 25cl PET bottle to fit into a lunchbox and a 50cl bottle with 20% extra value. And that's not all. Maltina will embark on a nationwide back-to-school nourishment tour in September, with an ambition to reach over 1 million students across Nigeria this school season for Maltina.
We didn't just come out of the blues to say we want to start going back to school to nourish minds. Our ambition is to use and work with our state champions across the nation. And through these state champions, we are going to go to all the schools across the country. We are going to also open an opportunity for people across Nigeria to nominate their schools. And then we will select schools in addition to the schools we are going to go to with our state champions.
This campaign highlights Maltina's role in fueling families with nourishment while making quality malt more accessible in convenient pack sizes.
Over the years, consumers have been telling us, we want more Maltina, and all they've had is the 33cl bottle. So now, instead of one, they have three. The 25cl that goes into the lunchbox, the 33cl for convenience, and the 50cl for those who just want a bit more.
Having a 25cl gives you almost a balanced nourishment that you need for the day. You understand? In addition to your balanced meal for the day. What this does is to make sure that when our kids are going back to school, when they are making a choice of a beverage to drink, they are taking something that actually adds value to their body.
Maltina has a history of supporting families in classrooms, from nourishment to initiatives like the Teacher of the Year. All of this is to remind Nigerians that Maltina remains ready to nourish minds and share happiness for generations to come.
For more company news and other stories from the world of business, let's join Dominic Iwu.
Thank you. And on business news, Dangote Group and the Ethiopian government have signed a landmark $2.5 billion agreement to build one of the world's largest urea fertilizer plants in Yobe, Ethiopia. Under the deal, Dangote will hold 60% ownership, while Ethiopian Investment Holdings will take a 40% stake. The project, with a planned capacity of 3 million metric tons annually, will tap Ethiopia's Hilal and Kalub gas reserves through a new pipeline network. Officials say the complex will reduce Ethiopia's reliance on fertilizer imports, create thousands of jobs, and position the country as a regional production hub. Access Holdings has appointed Innocent Ike as its Group Managing Director and CEO effective August 29, 2025, after receiving regulatory approval. His appointment follows the resignation of Roosevelt Ogbonna from the board in line with new central bank corporate governance rules. Mr. Ike takes over from Mr. Bolaji Agbede, who served in acting capacity for 18 months after the passing of late Herbert Wigwe. With over 30 years of banking experience, including leading Polaris Bank and a decade at Access Bank, Mr. Ike is stepping in at a pivotal moment. Meanwhile, the shares of Access Holdings fell 0.7% following the news. The domestic equities market records negative performance for a second day. Ladi Williams has the details.
So, from two positive closes to start the week, it's now back-to-back losses from the midweek trade. I would see the all-share index from opening at 141,394 points. We lose that 141,000 level and are down about 0.5% today. And, definitely from the last high, we're about 6,000 points, wiped out there from the all-share index. Let's do the top trades today. We have likes of GTCO, Champion Breweries, and Access Holdings. And, that one shared about 0.74%. That's talking about Access Holdings, 93 million. That was traded today. And we got that big news on the leadership change by the Tier 1 lender. We got that news that Mr. Innocent Ike was appointed as a substantive Group Managing Director, Chief Executive of Access Holdings PLC. On the day, the Bears come out to play.
And that's it on business news. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, is asking stronger global collaboration to tackle what he describes as Africa's fast-evolving security threats. Speaking at the Interpol African Regional Conference in Cape Town, Mr. Egbetokun warns that livestock rustling, once dismissed as a local menace, has now become a major criminal enterprise fueling terrorism and cross-border crime. While outlining 6 key strategies to adopting and curbing the menace, he linked the scourge to terrorism financing and chemical and biological threats, stressing the proceeds from livestock that are being used to fund explosives and other dangerous operations. He also held high-level meetings with Interpol and Brazilian security officials to expand Nigeria's international policing partnerships. And on the foreign scene, European leaders are outraged after Russian strikes killed 21 people and damaged EU's headquarters in Kiev. Here's Simon Puse with this and more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The European Commission Vice President Kaja Kallas says Russia's overnight attack on Kyiv shows a deliberate choice to escalate and mock the peace efforts. Strikes on the Ukrainian capital killed at least 15 people, including 4 children. One was the age of 2. Dozens more are injured, according to President Volodymyr Zelensky, who accuses Moscow of choosing ballistics ahead of the negotiating table. Meanwhile, Ukraine's armed forces report hitting an oil refinery in Russia's South Krasnodar region. Moscow says it intercepted 102 Ukrainian drones overnight. Witnesses to a mass shooting in the U.S. state of Minneapolis have described the terrifying scenes after an attacker opened fire on a church in which children were celebrating Mass on Wednesday morning. 2 children were killed and 17 others injured in the incident that the FBI is treating as an anti-Catholic hate crime. The attacker, named as 23-year-old Robin Westman, died at the scene from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Authorities have not yet given a suspected motive.
Well, we just got into Mass. It was like 3 minutes after. It was very scary. It was like my friend got shot in the back. He's in the hospital right now. It was super scary because, like, we've never practiced it in the church. We've only practiced it in the main school. So we really didn't know what to do.
North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un will attend a military parade in Beijing next week alongside Russia's Vladimir Putin in what will be a landmark visit. This is Kim's first multilateral international meeting, making the event a diplomatic win for China's Xi Jinping, who has been pushing for a new Beijing-led world order. It allows Xi to signal his influence, although limited, on both Mr. Putin and Mr. Kim, at a time when Washington is attempting to make a deal with Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. Some 200,000 people have been evacuated as floods devastate parts of Pakistan's Punjab province. Rescuers carried residents to safety in boats after disaster authorities warned of exceptionally high floods along the Ravi, Sutlej and Chenab rivers. Several districts called in the army to help. It comes after Pakistani officials said India had warned it would release water from a major dam upstream, causing heavy flooding in parts of what is Pakistan's most populous province. Both countries have suffered intense rainfall in recent weeks, with monsoon rains killing more than 800 people in Pakistan since June. Germany's cabinet has passed a draft bill which will introduce a voluntary military service. The bill could also lead to conscription if more troops are needed. It's part of a move to boost German national defences following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Compulsory military service in Germany was ended in 2011 under the then-Chancellor Angela Merkel. Chancellor Friedrich Merz has made boosting Germany's military a priority given the threat from Russia and said we are now back on the path to a military service army. Germany's plans also follow calls by US President Donald Trump for Europe to take more responsibility for its own defence. New drone video shows the moment pilot Mark Finkelstein was rescued after making an emergency water landing off the coast of Oak Island Pier in North Carolina. The personal aircraft experienced engine failure. Rescuers, who are already in the area, responding to a nearby call, are seen rushing to the small plane and extracting Finkelstein in less than 30 seconds. The rescue footage was released on the 27th of August after officials from the Federal Aviation Administration finished their investigation. Scientists have discovered a bizarre armoured dinosaur which had metre-long spikes sticking out from its neck. The species, called Speciomelus afer, lived 165 million years ago and is the oldest example of a group of armoured dinosaurs called ankylosaurs. The elaborateness and spikiness of the animal found in Morocco has come as a shock to experts, who now have to rethink how these armoured dinosaurs evolved. And a tense debate in the Mexican Senate descended into a brawl between two of the chamber's most senior politicians. Senator Alejandro Moreno of the opposition Institutional Revolutionary Party grabbed the president of the Senate, Gerardo Fernandez Noronha, demanding to be allowed to speak. After some pushing and shoving, Moreno threw punches and a photographer was injured. Tempers had already been running high throughout the debate about the presence of armed forces from other countries on Mexican soil.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Liverpool and Manchester City will both come up against Real Madrid in this season's Champions League, while title holders PSG have been handed a tough list of opponents in today's draw, including Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Xavi Alonso's Real will play City at home and take on Premier League champions Liverpool at Anfield in what will be two of the standout fixtures of the league phase. PSG will entertain Bayern and go to Barcelona, while the French club also have home fixtures against Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle United. Every team now plays 8 games against 8 different opponents in the new format of Europe's elite club competition, which was introduced last season. Olympic champion Julian Alfred stormed to victory in the women's 100 meters at the Diamond League final in Zurich earlier today. The sprinter, whose gold at last year's Paris Olympics was the first ever for a tiny Caribbean island homeland of St. Lucia, clocked 10.76 seconds for the win at the Leipzig-Grund Stadium. Jamaica's Tia Clayton finished second in 10.84 seconds, with Britain's Dinah Archer-Smith rounding out the podium in 10.94 seconds. That sport is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. NNPCL Bayo Julari today said the top management of the organization are under attack from some quarters for fixing the refineries, vowing to press on with the reforms. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawade. Good night, and please stay safe.